Immortals of Aveum. Oh boy.
The last immortal.
Rosharnians haven't had enough yet?
We haven't given them enough yet.
Oh yes, hello my fellow Magni in the Great Ever War. Today we're going to look at something a little bit magical. I will put it all on the line. I am an absolute sucker for magic in games. Whenever I play an MMO, I play the class that's got the flashiest spells. That kind of thing. So when you are presented with a game that is all about becoming a badass battle mage, controlling many and multiple types of spells that interweave and combo and just create this incredible sense of power and fast-paced fun, well, my response is always going to be, you had me at Battle Mage. So at this point, I do want to say a big thank you to EA for sponsoring this video. And if you do end up liking what you see, then you can find out even more and indeed get the game in the link down below. Of course, I am not bound to say anything either way on this game. They just wanted me to check it out and then tell you guys what it's all about. And given it's something that I had my eye on and it passed me by with just how much else was going on, now seems like a great time, because I do think it's gone sort of a little bit under the radar in this year where we have had so many ridiculous releases. Because really, there is a lot of charm to be found here. So what's the actual baseline of what you're doing? Well, you play as Jack, who is a battle mage able to control green, red, and blue magic. Normally, controlling just one of them is impressive enough, but of course, we are special. And this means we can do some seriously potent stuff. To give a little bit of a more, quick mechanical breakdown, you are blasting off various configurations of spells with your right hand using this really neat-looking device known as a sigil. And blue is essentially your sniper, right? It's your long-range pew-pew-pew, and it does a great job at being that. Your red is your shotgun. It's your close range, it's your fiery, it's your destructive, and it is very much AoE inclined. Then you have your green, which kind of fills in your assault rifle-esque rapid fire medium range option. Though that really does kind of not do them all justice, because there is various different ways of firing each of them. Then we have totems that give you an extra power, one for each color. For example, my green one at the moment is a little blob that will put an enemy hit or an object hit in slow motion, which lets you do all sorts of fun things. And the blue one is a whip that grabs enemies, pulls them in, and then you can do combos like blast them with a shotgun. The red one, either killing them or knocking them off an edge. You've got a shield to toggle on and off. While it has durability to block incoming damage, you can still attack while doing it, but you move slower. You've got yourself a double jump, and you've also got yourself a teleport in the form of a recharging blink. So there's a lot of layers here. Your left hand, your right hand, your extra powers, and then finally you get your super attacks, your furies, which are big battle-changing blasts of power, and you can use them 3 times before you need a little bit of a top-up, essentially consuming a mana crystal to get those charges back. My blue one at the moment is a big explosion of rocks that crushes enemy shields, and the red one is a big AoE all around me that knocks back and burns all of the people. So that's sort of a feel for it as you start to see me use it around the place, and it does all work together really nicely. I am very much impressed with how fast you can kind of end up here. You can really get to grips with it and very fluidly swap and combo and just kind of feel that fantasy of I am clearly so much more powerful than these people that I am just taking apart with all of my magical options here. And it's very easy to get into, but there is a lot of depth and you can get some serious mastery. But as I said, everything comes in a lot of flavors. There is over 25 separate spells, and as you can see, even the basic attacks can come out in very different manners. I've already got multiple options for all of them, and they all fill a different niche depending on what kind of encounter or indeed boss you are facing. So you've got this baseline kit then of a magic FPS with all of your extra powers to weave in and unlock. You've got sigils that make your magic even more powerful, and you can acquire these and grow stronger via exploring. The map itself, I think, is really cool how it's represented, and there's a lot of little extra side places and puzzles to solve that unlock more gear to equip and more power to infuse. You've got a little bit of a talent tree going on for the 3 magic schools, and sadly this is, honestly for me, maybe the weakest part of the game. None of the talents here are hugely exciting. You can of course specialize, though some of, for example, the red upgrades need points in blue, so it does encourage you to mix and match, which is probably the ideal way to play, but I would prefer more like defining upgrades as opposed to just like more armor or % more damage, or your attack now does a debuff, you know? I feel like we could have got a little bit more crazy given magic from the talent tree, but it does the job of giving you this sort of drip feed power increase, and admittedly the spell creativity comes from interconnecting and comboing your various options out of the tree, so I can kind of see why they've done that, but I do think it could have been a little bit more exciting. I wouldn't really be expecting to do like a build in that kind of sense in this game. It is about the magic FPS-ness most of all. And yes, as I mentioned, there is gear then. Your actual blaster on your right hand, which is determining both the strength and type of shot you're firing. You've got your totems for the power there, and then you've got rings and braces, which give you various stat increases or alterations to how you're working that you can kind of build off and specialize with. And again, you find these in secret little hidden chests around the place, or indeed from major encounters. Major encounters like this bloody dragon! Oh, you know I'm sold if at any point I get to kill a dragon. It's kind of just, you know, the thing we do here. And it's a really nice example of an early boss. I'm about 3-4 hours into the game, and this really stood out to me. It's very fun to try and combat this big beastie with the magic that you have so far, dodging its attacks and whittling it down, and it does flow fairly well. You do get some really cool set pieces in Immortals of Aveum here. I mean, when you first walk out onto this battlefield,
One hell of a next wave.
yeah, is that not like, oh my god, right? It's really neat. There is a very strong aesthetic going on here, and while there is certain areas that I think the visuals fall down a little bit, and a few rougher patches, the overall vibe, as they say, is really quite endearing. As is, I have to admit, the characters, the voice acting. I find it charming. I know a lot of people have not really really kind of clicked with it, but I really like Jack. I like his quips. I like the way he says things. I mean, just moments like this.
Don't mistake my attention here for an endorsement into the Order, Jack. You'll put in the time, on the front lines, like everyone else.
How much time are we talking?
I mean, that's my start. That's my jam, right? Like, that's kind of the thing that I like. I love little moments like that. I think it is quite satisfying, and I like the banteriness that is going on here. It's never too serious, but you do get those elements, especially with how the story is structured. You start in Chapter 1 as a kid, getting this sort of backstory as to the world and what's going on, and then you slowly grow up towards Chapter 3 when you're having your first proper battle, now a much more experienced magical soldier, and your ultimate goal is to put an end to this constant war over control of magic, with many other little twists and turns going on. It gets the job done at worst, and has quite a few moments of, okay, yeah, that's quite fun at its best. And I think ultimately the bottom line that I want to outline is that it's just fun. Like, it's just good, light-hearted fun. I don't think the developers themselves would claim it's the next masterpiece that's going to redefine gaming, but it doesn't need to be, right? You don't need the world's most mind-blowing graphics, storyline, voice acting, yada yada yada. Though it's not exactly, I mean, you're seeing and hearing it, it's not bad in any of those aspects by any means, but you don't need all of that to just have a really fun magical FPS. And while sometimes the particle effects go a little bit crazy, I'm someone who likes a little bit crazy if it's being caused by magical things. There is not enough magic-focused experiences for my liking, and when you have this really fun setup that lets you do some really neat things, gives you this battle mage fantasy, coupled with some really impressive set pieces, views and vistas, and some quite funny and in some cases impactful character moments, you get to just go on this campaign that will take up to about 20 hours, and it's just this nice little bite that you can certainly do worse with your time. And I think, honestly, that's what I wanted from this. I didn't need it to be this super intense, crazy experience. I just wanted to have a good time blasting people with various flavors of arcane power, and that's exactly what I got, and more. It really is quite neat. Don't go in wanting this sort of deep RPG character customization build setup. You're not here for that. You're here to rampage through this world, experience the quirky and in a lot of cases charming story and characters, firing up your magic engines, and just generally being the god battle mage that you are destined to be. And when you ask me, is this magic-flavored FPS a fun time? Yeah, the answer is certainly yes. And really, that's what it's trying to be, and it does it. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the game achieving what it set out for, even if no particular individual aspect is going to be on its own mind-blowing. The sum of its parts here is an experience that I suppose, at the bottom line, is worth the price of entry, especially if it's something that you kind of are predisposed to enjoying, like I am with magic-focused experiences. I enjoyed learning about the world, how the magic plays into it, the Immortals themselves, the factions, and even just walking around and seeing like blacksmiths making weapons ambiently in the background with magical stuff, walking through like a military camp and the medics healing people with magic, just that sort of ambience. There is detail here if you choose to look for it. And I have enjoyed my time in it, I really have. And I think the bottom line when it comes to anything like this, the big test is, do I want to play more after this little look at it? The answer is yes, and that really is nice. So that's my thoughts and little introduction to Immortals of Aveum, and if you like what you've seen, if you're inclined to don your Battle Mage outfit, well, you can learn more about the game and indeed get it in the link down below in the description. So, for now then, let me know what you guys do indeed think, and like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.